Good morning, everybody. My name is Joshua Camacho. I am here today to do the weekly Transformations podcast. Our normal host, Lee, is taking a well-deserved vacation this weekend, so he has allowed me the opportunity to come down here and still provide you guys with this weekly episode. Quickly, I want to introduce real fast Joel. He is our guest today. After I get through the few announcements that I have, then we're going to get right into things. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in this morning, and let's get to it. So we have a few announcements for the Transformation Speaker Series. The speaker series here at the Rise Center will be on the 15th. 702 North 8th Street. You enter onto the Nickel Street side here at the Rise Center. The speaker will be announced here within the next couple of days, but that is on the 15th of this month, which is next Wednesday. The Spanish-speaking PA Counseling Speaker Series will be on February 23rd. That speaker will also be announced within the next few days, and that's at PA Counseling on 5th Street, North 5th Street. The Berks Rise Center, we have a recovery movie. The movie is called Being Charlie. That is on February 18th. That is here at the Berks Rise Center, 702 North 8th Street. It's a really good movie. They always have really good outings. So if you are interested in just coming out and having a movie night down here at the Rise Center, that is on February the 18th. I did want to make an announcement that we were very excited to have The Forge, those guys, come on to the podcast. They had some stuff come up that they had to reschedule, and I just wanted to remind everybody that is still going to happen. They are just going to get with Lee and reschedule a new date. Hopefully it's sooner than later, because I was very excited about that one. They just had an amazing forum not that long ago. I believe they have another one coming up too. So if you guys haven't heard much about those guys, make sure you look into it, The Forge. Also, Lee also has the harm reduction packs. These are super important. We've been trying to allow the community to know that they are available. They come with fentanyl test strips as well as a dose of Narcan. So if anybody would be interested in those, please contact Lee either on Facebook, Leroy Cruz, or through the Transformations page directly. Inbox him and he will be able to get those to you. I'll do the announcements again there at the end just in case anybody missed them, but I don't want to keep Joel here waiting any longer. Thank you for being here, my brother. He's going to open up by just telling us a little bit about himself, and then he's also going to open up with a prayer for us. So if everybody can just help me welcome Joel.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Macho.
Absolutely.
It's a great opportunity. Thank you, Lee. Sorry you're not here, but you're here in spirit, brother. Before I start, I would like to open up in prayer to calm my spirit down a little bit and get those nerves out of my way. Father God, we just thank you for today. We thank you for your breath of life. We thank you for waking us up. I thank you for my brother Macho here, for the walk and path you put him in, and uplifting him from this great battle that a lot of people struggle through. And it's hard to find ways to get out of it, but deep inside, you are the number one reason for us to be here right now. And we just thank you and we're grateful for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So if you just, thank you so much. If you just want to tell the people a little bit this morning about, your pathway to recovery, and, as I was blessed enough to have already heard your story. So I know that yours is one that's, unique. And I would just love you to give the people a little bit about that.
All right. Well, my name is Joel Carrion. I have 8 years sobriety. Thank you. I started at a young age. I started at, I want to say 7 or 8. it was a family party, get together. And, you know, kids are curious, you know, and I saw like this bottle shining, you know, it was like, what is that? You know, kids don't know, you know, and like when I picked it up, took my first sip because I saw everybody else doing it, you know, and as children, we learn from our adults, our surroundings. So people don't really know that's like the root of everything.
Absolutely.
You see everybody having fun, yo, I want that life, I want to try that. So, you know, unfortunately, when I picked up, I loved it. A couple of years passed, like at the age of 14, I dealt with my father's death. He died young of using and drinking, you know, and right there is where it began. I lost the love of life and everything around me, you know, so I used to just numb myself to everything. You know, as that 14-year-old skipping school just to drink, because in New York, like, I was allowed to buy beer in the stores. Like, it's all around you. You can't get away from this stuff. So, you know, my teenager life, it was rough. Like, I was in a dark place. I had so much hatred. Like, I took my pops death hard. Like, I wanted to kill myself or kill somebody. And the only thing I knew was to numb myself with alcohol, you know? And, you know, it's hard right now to, like, just explain, to get back into stuff like that, because those are more, I need more healing and stuff like that. But again, I'm just grateful for being alive today. I'm in my 40s, you know, and I thought I was never gonna, you know, come to this age.
Right.
Because,
right, absolutely,
you know. So, you know, I got into trouble. My mom, she didn't know what to do with me, and like, she sent me up here to Pennsylvania, and it sucked because I didn't have my brother, my sister, my family. I had nobody to talk to or guide me. You know, the only thing I knew was to, like, numb myself. And the world we live in today, that's what everybody does. Get high, get drunk, you know, so there was I had no introduction of how to, like, recover from this. Because I was still lost, and I was in a dark place. And it just got worse. It regressed. My behavior was real bad, man. Like, I was disrespecting people. I didn't care about my education. Like, I was disrespecting my friends, my family. Like, I was distant from a lot of things. And I was always looking for an excuse to pick up, you know, just to numb myself and stuff like that. And, you know, I thought, as I got a little older, I thought starting a family was gonna help me. But it didn't. It was just another...
kind of complicated it more.
Yeah, I was celebrating to get numb instead of cherishing things that, like, I was missing in my life, like a functional family, like a structured family, actually. And I don't have that. I never knew it was a structured family. I learned everything the hard way, you know? So, through the midst of all that, man, I thought I was gonna, like, quit. And, like, this nightmare was gonna end, but that desire it was hungry and thirsty, you know? So I just kept going. You know, it was time that I lied. I was, like, working overtime, but I was out there in the bars drinking, just enjoying life. Like, I thought the bar scene, the club scene was my family. You know, that was like my happy place. Not home with my kid and my girlfriend, you know? So, it's just hard, like, when we in an addiction, our mind is not straight. It's in a dark path. We think we, like, in paradise, because we're numbing ourselves, we're doing whatever we want. We're surrounding ourselves with negativity, but it's all like a illusion. It's good times, but it's not really.
Right.
We're just killing ourselves deep inside and hurting things. And the one thing I don't like about the state of Pennsylvania, like, transportation sucks. You know, so you gotta drive to these places. So that's what happened to me. And I'm grateful because, you know, I survived my 20s into when I hit 30, I got my first DUI. I was like, yo, 10 years went by, like, without me getting stopped, nothing. You know, I thought I was on the road to victory or something. Well, you know, my first DUI was a joke to me. They introduced me to counseling, and I really didn't know how to take that. I just wanted to get over with, you know, show up, okay, can I get my license back? Yada, 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 you know. But I didn't take it seriously, and I wasn't ready to surrender. 2 years passed, you know, I had another child, and again, because of my drinking, I messed up my family. I messed up my first relationship with my son's mom. Now I messed up my second relationship with my daughter's mom. And I had no feeling, no love, no control. Because the alcohol took over. You know? That was my celebration. I thought I was happy, but deep inside I wasn't. I was happy that I found a way to just step aside and celebrate, you know? So, in the midst of that, I got my second DUI, and you know, it kind of sucks when you force into things. Like, I had to give up my apartment to go to this place called the YMCA. It's called the STOP program, because I couldn't afford my apartment and that to live there. You know, that's when I got introduced to AA and NA, and we could discuss about this later, because now I'm forced to go into recovery. I'm not ready to surrender. I'm not ready to give up my lifestyle. So now I'm forced to be in a place where I don't want to be. And I think with today, that's what a lot of kids and a lot of people in early recovery is struggling with. You know, you're forced to something that you don't want to stop. You know, so it was okay that I had to stay at the YMCA for like, I think 3 months. You know, they drug test you, this, and that. I was like, all right, you know, I'm going to be a good boy. Do my 95 days, whatever, and get out of there, go back to where I was at. But in that mix of that, they gave me like a 5 days term in prison. You know, and being in BCP, ooh, man, had me thinking, like, I don't want to be in there. There's little rooms, no space to go. You was quarantined, and you only come out just to get your food and back. And even though I was only there for 5 days, but it felt like months, because I couldn't sleep. You know, and the vibe in there is so negative. Mm-hmm. Like, people wanted to fight you. Like, dude, like, you can't even get out of your cell and you want to, like, start trouble. Like, it's ridiculous. And then, like, my roommate, you want to say, a bunkie, whatever, you know, it was tough, because I had the first guy that was there, he looked like he was high, and they just threw him in there. So he was going through some type of detox, and his mind wasn't straight. Like, this guy wanted to, like, do anything. Like, I was like telling him to go out, like, you gotta get this guy out of here. Like, he's not right in his mind. He's hurting, and like just provoking me to do something. Like, he wanted to fight, and like I was like, yo, I would hurt you, you know. And I'm only here for 5 days, dude. Like, I'm not trying to be here longer than this, and that. So in the midst of that, I couldn't even sleep, because I couldn't even trust the guy that's sleeping underneath me and stuff like that. So it was a nightmare. Those 5 days felt like a month to me.
Absolutely.
You know? So when I got out of there, I had a couple of days left in the YMCA. I met Lee there, I met Ryan. great gentlemen. You know, they tried their best, but I was lying. Yeah, I'm gonna stop drinking, but deep inside, I wasn't.
Right.
You know, because of probation, the court, the judge. And so once I got out of there, a couple of months passed. You know, I put myself back in at the pipe, watching sports, and I bought a Corona, and I sat in there, and I'm just looking at it for like an hour, dude. And I was like, do I want this? I don't. And again, I put myself in a bad situation where everybody else is getting drunk, having to go to the time, and I'm like, I miss that. And I couldn't tolerate that, so I picked up. A couple of months passed, you know, I got my third DUI, and I was like, yo, that's it for me. Like, this is where I need to, like, surrender, like, my life. So I was drunk. I surrendered my life to God. You know, it's weird, but hey, that was a time when I hit rock bottom. And I always say this before, Christ could be the rock at the bottom, waiting for me. And then he was. You know, and actually that darkness and everything, I just saw light when, like, I cried, when I really truly surrendered. I was like, I saw this light, dude, like a straight path to something. I didn't know what. So I told my probation officer that I violated my second DUI. I just got another one. You know, they tell you that's 2 years automatic upstate. And I was like, wow, here I am, forced again into something that I don't want to surrender. And is it drinking bad? Is it bad that I'm drinking and driving? I didn't hurt nobody. Why are they trying to take away something that helps me? I leave everybody, I mind my business, my own business, you know what I mean? And they want to take something that I love away from me. And they don't understand the pains that I went through, everything I went through. They don't understand. And they want to just take that away from me. And, you know, that was all a lie to me. Because, and that third DUI experience, and I am grateful for it because I found Christ. And, you know, he just opened doors for me. I was lost. I didn't know where to go to. Yeah, so, and then.
Well, I want to thank you, and I want to say right away too that finding the fact that you found, you know, church and our Lord and Savior as, you know, your rock. It's not weird, you know. The great thing about this is, like we were talking a little bit before we went on air, is that there's so many different ways to get to that ultimate destination, and that ultimate destination is complete abstinence, right? So at the end of it, it wasn't weird. There was nothing weird about it. It was just, that's your journey. So like the great thing is NA and AA didn't really work for you, right? Like it felt forced. It felt like you didn't want to be there. But you were blessed enough by you know, the Most High to be able to find your way, you know. And thank you for your testimony. But I wanted to ask you more, like, when you finally then found, you know, that spiritual principle, and you know you had that going on for you, where did you feel like your recovery began?
Ooh, good one. So going back a little bit with like the AA, NA, it wasn't for me because like I couldn't find a sponsor, and I thought this was a place with open arms, like it could help you. And like nobody wanted to sponsor me for some reason. They're like, work on yourself, you know, you got to do this and that. I'm like, I'm already hit like in a couple of months of sobriety. I was like, what's going on? And so this is a key point right now. So when I surrendered and like I understood it, and when you accept Christ in your life, you know, you gotta carry a cross daily. You gotta give up your old ways. So baptism symbolizes Christ. He's in there with you. So when you get baptized, your old self dies. You know what I mean? And this is the best part, because when I got baptized, like, Christ took that desire away from me. So when I came out, when I got dunked in the water, when I came out, I was in tears because I felt something just come out of me. So that's what baptism symbolizes. Like, your old self is dead.
Right, brand new start.
Brand new start, a new man, you know, born again. And right there, dude, like I said, he took that desire away from me that I know I was not going to find in the rooms or through counseling, or I wasn't even forced to do this. No. I actually like surrendered. Not no pastor telling me you have to do this, this, and that. Because going back when I was 15, when I dealt with my pop's death, my mom took me to church because she saw this destruction path I was in. She brought me to church, like forcing me almost to give my life to Christ, and I was like, no. And you know, in my 20s again, I was like, no, I denied Christ a couple of times because I wasn't ready in my heart. So when I finally did, like, I felt like I was home, Macho.
And that's, yeah.
You know? And so now that I'm open, a free man, like, now I can go through life and like with trust and belief, because again, you know, I felt like I wasn't forced. I felt like I couldn't trust men. Like, I started going to a CR recovery, celebrating recovery. It's a church base, you know, and they do the 12-step together to step 4, and you needed a sponsor. So when I went, I had no sponsor. I was like, all right, you know, I'm gonna keep trying. Mm-hmm. I had to, because I was still on probation, you know, so I had to keep doing my things. And a year passed, same thing, 12 steps, 4 steps. I got to the meeting. He said, where's your sponsor? I said, yo, like, Jesus is my sponsor, the Holy Spirit. And he looked at me like, you can't do that. I was like, what? So right there, I'm glad that happened. I experienced that because I got more spiritual and connected to Christ. And like I said, when I surrendered, like, he's the ultimate. He was there. Right. And he was just waiting for me. Like you said, it wasn't weird. I'm sorry that I said it was weird, but he was the rock in my bottom and waiting for me. And so I really focused on him. And I saw that light, dude. It just changed everything in my recovery. I kind of like trusted more in him and reading the Bible. Mm-hmm. And that helped me through my recovery a lot until this day. I actually put myself back in like the bar scenes and clubs by myself, and where guys was like, don't do that because you're not ready, stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? I got Christ in my side and my heart. I gotta face this, because sometimes we tend to run from our past.
Absolutely.
And it is scary, because you really think all that temptation is in front of you. You know, temptation is the liquor, the women. That's all in front of you, and you're just gonna give in to that temptation. So when I went by myself, it was hard. And I didn't do it one time. I did it multiple times, just to like say that was a lie. I don't need this. This is not my family. This is not a place where I need to be at. And you know, I defeated that nightmare.
Absolutely.
You know, so
it's super dope. I relate to you in a few different ways, but I want to touch on again first is your story is powerful because of the persistence that you had in your story. Like the fact that you knew you didn't want to live out there anymore, you didn't want to do that anymore. You know, you kept running into little hurdles, you know, with the sponsor and, you know, with, you know, trying these different avenues, but, you know, and then when that, you know, individual told you that you can't do that, right? For me, back when I was younger, that would have been all I needed. He would have told me, oh, I can't do that, and I would have been like, okay, well, I can't do this then. And then boom, I would have been off to the races. And the fact that you didn't, dude, it's so honorable, Joel. And like, you know, I've said it to you a few times, like, dude, like your story is unique because of the way that you didn't necessarily, you know, follow the blueprint. And that's what we were talking about, you know, the great thing about it, not having to. But I relate in the, you know, the aspect of the bar scenes, the club scenes. Like that was my thing. That was my go-to. That's where I felt most at home, in the chaos, you know, in the not knowing if a beer bottle was coming from this way or this way, you know, having the empty Corona in my back pocket, you know, all of that comes with that life. And once I got sober, you know, Friday and Saturdays were a very bad day in my household, you know, because going back to earlier when you were talking about how you thought having a family would better your situation, and I, you know, chimed in and said it kind of complicated it. That was also what I thought. I was like, well, you know, as long as I'm with the same girl, you know, we're having kids, and I'm going home every night, you know, even if it's 5 a.m, what's the problem? I'm going home. So, long story short, Fridays and Saturdays became something that my wife dreaded. So when most people they work hard for the weekend. Like now I appreciate when Friday rolls around. You know what I mean? I clock out at 5. I know that my kids and my wife are waiting for me when I get through the door. Now it's a different life that I live today though, right? So back then, you know, Friday and Saturdays would come around and, you know, Tina would know what was about to happen by the music that I would start playing in the house. If she walked in from work real quick, because back then, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't doing a lot of working. She'd walk in, she'd hear music playing, she already knew what it was. And then now I gotta be like, what's wrong with you? But I already know what's wrong, you know, because like I was gonna go out. That's just what I did. I just felt more comfortable, like I said, in the chaos. So I relate a lot with that, because once I got sober, I was like, well, where does the fun come in?
Right.
And you know, where do I go? Like I'm super into sports, go Birds. And and like, you know, all of these sports venues that I go to, there's alcohol there. How am I gonna watch a hockey game without a beer in my hand? And you know, you have to kind of reprogram yourself. And I love the aspect of the baptism. You know, you have to become a new man. You have to learn how to do things completely different. And you know, you just have so much to give to individuals in early recovery, because of the fact that, you know, the one way didn't work, but that didn't stop you. No. You know, like and that's the biggest thing is in early recovery is finding the avenue that works best for you, because you're gonna run into things. You're gonna walk into a meeting that may not be what you thought it was gonna be. You know, you may walk up to that first person and ask, hey, do you think you could be my sponsor? And they, you know, decline. What do you do from there? Rejection
is the first thing to relapse.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing. Like you said, I conquered. I was like, wow. I didn't take it to the heart, because you know what? So, and at the end of the day, when you love yourself or learn how to love yourself, like you need to like get back to your baby steps and learn to embrace like rejection, grief. This is part of recovery, because there's going to be a time when our close ones, we lose them, and the only way we know how to numb ourselves is to drink it.
Absolutely.
You know, and grief is the hardest part of recovery. And you know, it could be your child, your mother, your wife, whatever, your brother, your sister. We have to prepare ourselves. We can never let our guards down either. You know, because actually you could get too comfortable in recovery. You've had 20 years sobriety, right? I notice people that there's things in them that didn't change their behavior. They still curse you out. They still disrespectful. And I'm like, yo, when you clean and sober, you're supposed to have like this transformation.
Right.
Like, you know, get all that negative stuff away.
Absolutely.
But, you know, sometimes, that's what I said, like, transformation is when you deeply surrender, and when you, our old patterns, like, we really have to, like, get rid of that stuff, because
Now you're just sober.
yeah, and dry.
Yeah.
I met a guy, he's 35 years of sobriety, and it's funny because he's married, his wife gave him an option. You don't stop drinking, you lose your family.
Mm-hmm.
So for like 20, 30 years, he stopped, right? So she gave him like this other chance to come home, be a family man. His kids are grown already. Now he's drinking because he's like, I'm in a safe place with my wife and my family. But when I went over one time, I could see it didn't change him. He was really disrespectful to his kids. And I was like, wow. Like, that actually helped me because in my recovery, I was pushing my kids away, you know? And to this day, that hurts. And I have a lot of time to catch up. I lost my license for 10 years. I get it back this year.
Awesome.
You know, I missed so many games with my daughter's soccer, my son. There's so much that I have to catch up. But in the midst of this, I got to keep myself straight. Right. And they watching me. Right. Like, remember in the beginning of this session when I said the deep root of our addictions, what we see, what we know. As kids, your mind absorbs all that. So I'm like, okay, now I'm in a pattern. Am I following my father's step, my grandfather's? And I'm grateful that my son's seen all this. Hey, he's gonna be 18, never picked up.
That's awesome.
He's like, Dad, I see what you do. I'm not even trying to like.
That's awesome. I
was trying to break that vicious cycle of my family's generation, because my grandfather passed away from drinking, my dad early 40s. I was 32, like I was next on line. Mm-hmm. You know, so we have to take this stuff seriously. And I appreciate you guys, what y'all doing, because you guys are like the foot on the street. You guys do speaker nights, what, Tuesdays?
Yeah, Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Thursdays, and Transformation's open, what, 24/7?
Yep, Transformation, you can always get a hold of somebody.
And stuff like that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, absolutely.
Stuff like that. So, that's what I love about these guys, you know? They putting in the work, you know? I wish I could do that. Like, for instance, I got a couple of friends that look up to me and, like, want me to be their mentor, but I was, from the gate, I tell them, listen, before you want to listen or, you know, want me to mentor you, this is how I did it when I surrendered my life to Christ. If you're not ready for that, like, it's going to be hard because we're not spiritual connected. You're not spiritual ready for all this. Right. But I always say I'm there for you with prayer. I send you to, like, I could recommend a lot of places, you know, detox. I don't know too many names.
The warm handoff program is one that you can always keep in, like, if they need it, it's an emergency. They can go into the emergency room and they can ask for the warm handoff program. Okay. That'll direct them to any like detox or treatment services. You know, throughout the regular, we can segue into Yvonne quick because Yvonne commented. She said, I so appreciate these Sunday morning podcasts, so genuine and honest. You got a lot of great comments. Robert Diaz said, awesome guest, nights men are forged. Lee's in here somewhere, I believe. He's under a palm tree. He said, I'm playing double dutch in here, trying to just we have a lot of amazing people in this community that are trying to do, you know, the right things, that are trying to, you know, help people, guide them to the right places. And, you know, when you said that you want to, you are right now, you are this morning by coming on here, being vulnerable, you know, opening yourself up and sharing your story with, you know, the hundreds of people that'll watch this. At the end of the day, we've been having some really, really good, outreach and results from this podcast going up every Sunday. A lot of people watch it, and a lot of people have gotten something from it. So you are helping right now.
Thank you.
To Yvonne, Lee, Robert, and everybody else that has commented, you know how I feel about you guys, and we appreciate you guys so much. Lee, thank you for the opportunity of allowing me to do this morning. I hope you're coming back nice and bronzed, my brother. I'm sure you are. Enjoying yourself. You deserve it. Yvonne does an amazing things here. 702 North 8th Street here at the Berks Fry Center. If you ever are having a rough day and you haven't begun your journey of recovery yet, just know that you can pop in here and have a conversation and a cup of coffee with Yvonne herself or any of her amazing colleagues that work here. Monday through Friday, these doors are always open. And then, we do things over on the weekends, like we said, the movie nights. And there's a lot of outlets out here in this community to help anybody who's struggling. If you want to get on that road to recovery, I promise you this, that we are going to give you the information that you need, and we are going to direct you to the people that you need to talk to. If you have a conversation or you would like to have a conversation with me personally, my name is Joshua Camacho. I'm Macho Camacho on Facebook. My phone number is 484-926-8358. If you're into the email thing, it's transformationsjosh.23@gmail.com. And Lee is always available. Leroy Cruz on Facebook. You can also inbox him through the Transformations page directly, which is also on Facebook. Forgive me, my brother, but I do not remember your email off the top of my head, or I would give that. But we are just trying to do our due diligence. I'm trying to do my due diligence as a grateful recovering addict myself who has laid on the bottom but has now started his climb, and I stand tall. Awesome. At the beginning of my journey, I kind of used to wear this recovery patch with a little bit of shame. I'd wear it, but I'd tuck it, I'd put it in the back. Now I wear this on my forehead. I'm proud to be in recovery. I love what I do. The thing that I love the most about recovery is the amazing individuals like Joel that I'm able to have conversations with on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, because communication is key. Opening up is key. Letting out all of that pain is what's going to help us start the healing process. And a lot of us are walking around with so much pain, and all we have to do is just allow ourselves an opportunity to have a conversation with a good person. And you never know what that conversation will do for you. Joel, we have a few more minutes. I wanted to ask you, it's the Super Bowl, right? Everybody knows it's Super Bowl Sunday. I asked you before, so I'm not going to act like I'm a wizard. I asked you, I said, when did you get clean? And it was in January, right? So you had 30-some days, at that time, at that first Super Bowl. Now you said this is the 8th, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But for anybody who's still, very early on in recovery, what is something that they can do to protect themselves tonight? As far as it doesn't have to be, program based, but just like, for themselves spiritually, physically. What were some things that you may give advice to, just to limit, it's the biggest drinking day of the year.
It is. And actually, this is the time when you get your DUIs.
Right.
So don't forget that.
They will, please, yes.
Yes.
Unbelievable point, dude. They will have there are going to be checkpoints all over Berks County. So just make sure that if you are still partaking, you don't drink and drive. Just partake safely.
So, for me, my first year, 2015, it was rough. I only had a couple of 30 days, 35, maybe a month, a couple of days. I actually stood home. I was afraid. I still didn't know where to go. I didn't trust myself yet. And I stood home. I think I went to my mother's house and I watched the game. you know. And even though you see your surroundings and hear everything, your neighbors, you know, going crazy and drinking and this. At the end of the day, dude, like, sometimes that turns into a big old fight.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm glad I wasn't there. So that was like my first year. My second year, now you have your friends inviting you. Now you got your family inviting you over. They still drinking. No disrespect to my family or my friends. Sometimes they don't show respect if you're in recovery. I'm still drink, I'm still smoke in front of you. But I love them. You know, and those are the things we have to check and walk in recovery, we got to face and deal with. Not just run or push them away, you know? So, like you said, man up, you know? So, at first it was uncomfortable because just the smell, the popping of the beer, the puffing, like the smoke, it's like, I gotta get out of here. Like, what I'm doing? So, I just took it off. My third year, I was a little bit more stronger, it's more spiritual. You know, God pushed all my friends away. I didn't have to do it. And I started to notice, like, sometimes I love sports. I can enjoy this with myself. My kids, they're not big on Super Bowl, and they don't live with me, so it was hard for me to, like, have, like, that good party and watch, you know, so, I stood by myself. The fourth year, I actually got invited to City Light. City Light's for, like, the homeless, get back. That's a good place for anybody with a strong testimony to go there, because that's where it's at. That's the battleground with people.
That's on 9th Street, right?
Ninth and now. You know, those are people who are fighting for their life. They have nowhere to go. And I love going there and sharing my testimony and my clean time with them, because that's where it's at, you know? But it's like, again, you don't want to force nothing on people, you know? And some of them will have nowhere to go. And it was awesome. I had a great time with them. It kind of bothered me a little bit because it was too many people, too much noise. You know, watching Super Bowl, you want to, like, enjoy yourself, hear everything. Right. So as you get older, you kind of, like, trying to eliminate your surroundings a little bit. And, like, you don't want to have, like, a big old party. Now, my advice to anybody is, in your early stage of recovery, it's hard. I mean, if you need to watch it by yourself or with a close friend or a sponsor, I wish we have places more to have, like, a Super Bowl meeting. That would be awesome, because I know Transformation, they show football on Sundays, and that's the best time I ever had, watching people in recovery come to a place where, you know, you don't have to worry about who's drinking behind you, who's drinking next to you. Like, you're having a good time, and you get to meet people that you could actually connect with and help each other, because this is how we feed each other, sharing our testimonies, and that's what we was meant to do. You know, just share our growth. For me, I got to share my spiritual growth, how God delivered me from this stuff. And for every brother out here, we can't just overcome this and keep it to ourselves. Right. What's the point of that?
Right.
Nothing.
You only keep what you have by giving it away.
That's right. So that's why I love these guys. I respect them. You know, they the foot in the street. They're the soldiers. Again, just call us. If you have a sponsor, call a sponsor. Go to a place where it's safe. You know, don't worry about who you with or what other people say, because that all mental, and then our minds are like our greatest enemy. Right. You know, it tries to trap you to, like, go back into places that you don't want to go. You know, so, you know, just be safe. Find, like, a safe spot to go. Again, like, if you got a couple of years and you're struggling, and I know everything around you is negative, like, you know, have faith and stand strong, because we have to face this. We can't run.
I agree. I mean, that's awesome. my advice is very similar. You know, it's like if you're not comfortable in the shoes that you lace up at the moment, so to speak, it's okay to separate yourself. One of the biggest things that I had to realize early on in recovery is that it is okay to put me first rather than worrying about the opinions of others, right? So like, oh well, I invited Macho but he didn't come. I invited Josh but he didn't come. That's messed up. But it's okay, because if they don't understand or respect why I'm just choosing not to partake in this event, then at the end of the day maybe they're not necessarily in circles, so to speak. But Lee had an amazing question for you. He said, ask Joel, since he is a man of faith, what does he recommend somebody who wants to recover through a faith-based program?
Ooh, okay. First, if you're comfortable, find a church, find a place where you can go. I go to Spring Valley Church of God. They don't do celebrating recovery. They don't do recovery stuff. But the best part is they do small groups, like nights of the 21st century. And right there is where you can find your connection, your network with guys. I met guys in church where they had 25, 35 years clean. And like they counselors for like Karens and other stuff. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I don't know if you guys know Gary.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, man, I was shocked when I saw him at church. But it was awesome. There's churches out there. You just gotta surrender and whatever you feel comfortable with. A lot of places people don't feel comfortable. You gotta find a church where you feel like you're home. You feel comfortable. If any questions, like, you can reach me on Facebook, Joel Carrion, and I can guide you into stuff. I would love to do like a recovery spiritual thing on a basic week, and that's something like I could talk or build a network with if that's something they want to do.
It's awesome. So make sure that you guys, if anybody out there is into the faith-based aspect of it, or just want more information about it, the greatest thing that I'm doing, one thing that I'm doing now in where I am in life is I'm trying to learn it all. Yeah. I feel like knowledge is power. I feel like the more education that I have, the better I am suited to help an individual that may reach out to me. The last thing I want to do is have somebody reach out to me and I have to say, well, I don't know. Even though I will be honest and I will always say that, and I guarantee you that if I don't know, I will direct you to somebody who does know. But like I said, knowledge is power. And I just feel like having an open mind in recovery really can, help you in so many different ways. Like as we go here, we were talking about how do you keep the hunger and drive you had in early recovery when you now have years in recovery. So we talked about it earlier, but at the same time, that I believe that knowledge, it can help you there. Having that open-mindedness is what also keeps that hunger alive. I believe that sometimes we can become too stagnant in what we used to know and the way that things used to be. The world is a lot different these days. It's a whole nother show. It's a whole nother topic, but like the harm reduction stuff that, Lee and I advocate for, that's a conversation where it kind of, people aren't too sure how to feel about it, because, are they, saying that they should, are they trying to keep people using? When that's not the case, we're trying to have people who are probably going to use anyway, use safe, so that way they can still have a chance at tomorrow to eventually find recovery. But it's like, if you close your mind off, none of what I said there at the end registers. It's just like, what do you mean? You're giving out this and you're doing this, but it's just open-mindedness and the ability to want to still learn and still be taught. I think that sometimes, like, I'm not there yet, right, Joel? Like, you have the years and like Lee and Yvonne. Oh my God, Yvonne, like, I couldn't even imagine, God willing, I will get there one day, but like Yvonne's time, right? Then the greatest thing about Yvonne is that she's still willing to learn and grow every day with somebody like me, you know, rather than sit there and say, oh, well, I have this, I know how it goes, I know how it works. Like, there's people that don't work like that.
Right.
And I just feel like at the end of the day, as long as you're willing to have an open mind and an open heart, you're going to be able to help so many more people.
That's awesome. And when you say, I appreciate that, because that's actually my kind of hunger and thirst. When I hear young people in the early stage of recovery say stuff like that, because that brings back that hunger and thirst. Because you could die, you could die from that stuff.
Right.
You can have dry bones
Right.
and forget. You only worry about yourself. How can you love yourself, right? And don't care about nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and being open-minded to people. Like, you can't force people to stop. You know, I feed off of people who OD and passed away from using and drinking. It might seem a little harm, but I feed off of that because I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to see my friends and my family go into step into situations like that. But again, you can't force nobody to stop.
Right.
You can't pressure them. You can't lock them up in a place where they need to start their recovery. So, you know, again, just be open-minded. And it doesn't sound bad if you want to help out and to introduce people, because tomorrow, nobody's promised tomorrow. And you know, what these guys provide, what they say, is amazing. And we can't judge nobody. And that's where, that in this world today, that's what's happening. Like, we see somebody, you know, people are quick to judge and to let go and forget about them. Like, you know, transformation is like, you want to move up. You want to move forward in life. You want to keep pushing and getting away from a lot of stuff, but never forget where you come from.
Right. It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
I think that it's hard, right? Because on the other side of the coin, you know, you want to look at it like, well, you know, I never want to forget, but I never want to go back.
Right.
But then at the same time, the more you move forward and you kind of disconnect yourself from that pain, right? Because it's a fine line, you know, we got to heal from it, but not forget about it. But then if I don't forget about it, how can I really heal from it? So it's like one of those things that kind of go back and forth. But at the same time, like, when I look at you, I look at Lee, I look at Yvonne, I am so motivated, bro. Like, at the end of the day, Lee has helped turn me into a morning person. I was never a morning person, but this guy doesn't do anything, you know, after 10 a.m. Everything has. So it's like, it's just that you start to create these new habits and you start to want to become a better person. And it's like, I want to get to where my ultimate goal, honestly, is not to have a number of years attached to my name. It's to have the ability to have made an impact with the life that I have left. Right? And at the end of it, I'm so hungry. I'm so filled with fire when it comes to trying to save and help people. And at the end of the day, I know that I cannot do that if I don't remain okay myself, right? I got into the field. I learned very quickly how working with people is a lot harder than working with your hands. So, you know, you just constantly have to stay on your toes and do your due diligence to make sure you know, self-care, man. Lee tells me all the time, Yvonne tells me all the time, a lot of great people tell me all the time, you know, self-care is everything. Self-care is huge, and it's the same for you, you know, because it's for all of us, because life is going to be life, you know, life is going to come, and right when things are great, right, the sun is out, it's 55 degrees, you know, everything, then somehow, some way, life usually comes and trips us up a little bit, and we have to be prepared for that. But you were an amazing guest. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to say. I didn't know if Lee wanted to jump in here at all. I know he said he was double dutching, but that never really gave me the opportunity. And I didn't know. But I want to thank Yvonne, thank Lee for the comments, everybody else for the comments. Nick, where was my... Robert, all of you guys for the comments. Thank you, Joel, first and foremost, for your time here today. I just wanted to give an opportunity I just wanted to take the opportunity to redo these announcements real quick, and to know that the speaker series will be here at the Burks Rye Center on the 15th, 702 North 8th Street. You enter on the Nichols Street entrance. The speaker will be announced within the next few days. Then on Thursday, February 23rd at PA Counseling on 5th Street is the next Spanish speaker series down at PA Counseling, I'm sorry. Then on February 18th, we have the recovery movie here. The movie is being Charlie. I believe it's a 3 o'clock start, 3:30 start. Forgive me if I'm off on that, but I believe it is. And then we also will be rescheduling with the amazing gentleman from The Forge. Once we have that rescheduled, Lee or myself will be posting that all over social media, so that way you guys can be informed on when it's gonna happen. Then don't forget that Lee, if anybody you know or anybody who's close to you may be need a harm reduction packet, Lee has those available. So it comes with a fentanyl test strip. It also comes with a dose of Narcan. It comes with some alcohol swabs, just different things that can try to help make sure that that you make it through. You definitely want to kind of know what you're taking these days if you're going to still choose to take anything. Hopefully you guys were able to get something out of this. I hope I didn't butcher this too bad. The movie is at 3 p.m. Thank you so much, Yvonne. It's at 3 o'clock on February 18th. I hope to see some of you guys out here. It is Super Bowl Sunday. I am a huge Eagles fan. So go Birds. One more time, Joel, if you would like to say anything to Lee is watching, if you want to say anything on the way out.
All right. At first, I just want to say thank you, Macho. Thank you, Lee, for this opportunity. It doesn't matter how much clean time you have. Have the courage to share with others, because there's people out there that needs to hear your story. You don't know who you could connect to. A lot of people is ashamed of dealing with addiction. So I just encourage people to keep on sharing. Doesn't matter how much clean time you have. You can open a heart to another soul and save another person, because they can relate to your story. So God bless everyone, and thank you.
God bless, man. And we will see you guys next Sunday. Continue to reach out. If anybody needs me, it's Macho Camacho on Facebook. 484-926-8358. If anybody needs to get in contact with Lee, it's Leroy Cruz on Facebook, or inbox him directly through the Transformations page. Next time I do this, I'll make sure that I got Bossman's email and phone number down. But at the same time, thank you guys so much for tuning in, having a conversation with us, and giving us your comments. Yvonne, Lee, love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. God bless. You did great, my man.